How we doing, guys? Welcome to the preview and the predicted lineup. Portsmouth against Arsenal. FA Cup third round action. We get that break from the Premier League, and it's the start of a unprecedented period because we are about to become the first club that plays 4 matches in a row away from home in 4 different competitions. That's a mad statistic when you really think about it. Portsmouth in the FA Cup, then we've got Chelsea away in the Carabao Cup, then we've got Nottingham Forest away in the Premier League, and then we've got Inter Milan away in the Champions League. It's pretty mad, isn't it? But listen, Portsmouth, in the Championship, 4th from bottom, they're having a poor season. And when you look at it on paper, it should be a routine victory. But if you're looking at some of the games already during the FA Cup and the history of the FA Cup, it's what giant killing's all about, and you don't want to be a part of that. So, yeah, we're going to need to make some changes because I think that there are other priorities. The fact that we do play Chelsea in midweek, and I know it's the Carabao Cup, but it's a semi-final. And I know it's also 2 legs, but they're under a new manager. They're going to be fired up. So we're probably going to have to go stronger than we normally would in a Carabao Cup game, with a few little changes here and there. So this is one of the games where I feel that you can make loads of changes. You can load up the bench. So if something's not going right, you can bring those players on to turn it around. But for the majority, I feel that we should be making a lot of changes. And there's certain players that I wouldn't be involving at all. And that's the likes of Declan Rice. Not even on the bench for me. Give him the weekend off. Let him stay at home. Let him rest. And he needs it. It's that simple. So, yeah, there was a few people saying, should we start Gyökeres? Because maybe if he scores, it could get him going. I'm not on the same, page as that. I also look at it and think, listen, if Victor Gyökeres plays in this game and doesn't score against a very poor Championship side, then what? It gets even worse, doesn't it? So, no, not for me. But yeah, listen, I feel that we can make some changes. And, an interesting statistic involving Portsmouth is that we're on a 22-game unbeaten run against them, which stretches back 67 years. Now, it's not actually the most, longest unbeaten run in our history. That's actually 24 games. We actually went 21 games unbeaten against Spurs from 2000 to 2008. But yeah, listen, at the end of the day, we haven't been that great in the FA Cup of late. When Mikel Arteta first arrived, of course, he won it. But then we've obviously been doing a campaign for the last few years with the No More Red, which is a fantastic, I'm trying to think what the actual word is. My mind's gone blank for a second there. But, it's all about knife crime in London. And it's No More Red. It speaks for itself. And what we've been doing is that we've been wearing an all-white kit. No red, nothing. But we've been awful when we've worn that white kit. I don't know whether it's because we look like Spurs that we turn into them. So the, the idea behind everything is brilliant. Absolutely love the idea of it, and it's so good, and we're continuing that. But what we are not continuing is the white kit. We will be wearing red. So that's a good thing. So yeah, and and like a lot of Arsenal fans have said previously that whilst it's good and what we're doing is fantastic, let's get back to tradition and let's wear the red kit because it just doesn't seem to be working. But anyway, that's for the superstitious people, shall we say. But yeah, listen, at the end of the day, like I said, we can make changes. We've got big games coming up. Um, and yeah, these are the games that are a little bit difficult to predict what Mikel Arteta will go with. And you don't want to be on the end of a cup upset. You don't want to start what is this busy periods, you know, in the wrong way. Um, but yeah, listen, I think we'll have enough. I think that whatever we go with will be too strong for Portsmouth. And we should be able to get the job done and then be in the hat for the fourth round and then see what happens there. And then it kind of sets us up nicely before we go into the game against Chelsea. And again, like I said, new manager and everything else. It would be very, very interesting to see what happens in that game. But we'll get into that after this one. But yeah, team lineup's going to be interesting. So with that said, this is what I feel Mikel Arteta may well go with. In goal will be Kepa. I think this is a straightforward one. He seems like he's going to be the cup goalkeeper, and that will not change. Right back will be Ben White, bring him back into the side, get minutes into his legs. Wasn't out for too long after that little injury. And, you know, he was playing before that and he was looking decent. So he stays in the side. I was seeing a few people talking about Josh Nichols possibly going in at right back. I can't see Mikel going for that, given the fact that, you know, he's not really been involved at all, you know, even in Carabao Cup matches and playing or anything. So I just don't see that. Right centre back, I'm going to go with Marley Salmon. This is a young lad that I do feel will get an opportunity. Got an opportunity in the Champions League game. Most recently, highly thought of, a very, very good young player. 16 years old, and I don't feel that this would be a gamble to play him in this game. So that's what I would go with. And then next to him, I'm going to go with Gabriel. I feel that given the fact that he's not played a lot of minutes because of his injury and everything, I don't think it would be too much of a risk. I think that it's more minutes in his legs to get him going. And I think the likes of Marley Salmon, where he's got Ben White on one side and Gabriel on another, he would be absolutely fine. And I think it offers that balance and, you know, no issues at all. Left back will be Miles Lewis-Skelly. Needs minutes in his legs. And at the end of the day, with Calafiori missing, Hencape looking like he might be out for a little while, he's going to need to get back to the levels that he was at last season. And I know it's been difficult, and I give him the benefit of the doubt in that respect. I think that no game time has really affected him. But when I was watching him against Liverpool and he came on Thursday, he looked so off the pace. Really, really off the pace. Now, I know Frimpong is rapid, but he just looked so off it. But there was one moment where the ball was played to him in midfield and he held off the player, spun, little drive inside, slip pass through to Martinelli. That for me is his best position in midfield. I'd like to try him in this game in midfield, but the fact that we ain't got a left back means that he would have to play. So he goes in at left back. Sitting in front, I'm going to go with Christian Norgard, a very straightforward one. Martin Zubamendi comes out of the side, give him a rest. It's that simple. On the right-hand side, Noni Madueke, very, very impressed with some of the performances I've seen of him of late. Even when he came off the bench against Liverpool, he looked direct. He looked, you know, like he was causing problems. And if somebody actually got themselves in the box, they would have had to tap him when he, you know, created that moment. And no issues at all. Saka gets a rest. Very, very simple. Next to him, I'm going to go with Eberechi Eza. I was debating whether to go with Eza and Wanyeri, but I just don't see Wanyeri starting this game. I really don't. Talk that he may well go out on loan this month to gain some valuable minutes and whatnot. But yeah, for this game, I just don't see him starting. So Eza, for me, he starts the game. Very simple. Alongside him, Mikel Moreno. That's who I feel will start this game. Need a little bit of experience in there, older head. But at the same time, yeah, I would like to see Eza and Wanyeri and just go for it. But I just can't see it happening. Maybe play Moreno up front as the striker and Eza and Wanyeri behind. I wouldn't object to that. I'm just going with what I feel Mikel Arteta will go with. And then on the left-hand side, we're going to go with Martinelli. Of course, he's not in prison yet. He hasn't been sentenced for the incident against Liverpool because that's obviously what everybody seems to have wanted to happen with the overreaction to the whole incident. Absolutely mind-blowing. And I spoke about it as well. And I said that it's just a complete and utter overreaction. And Martinelli didn't realise that Conor Bradley was injured and it could possibly be a serious one. The fact that he looked down and he see Conor Bradley pushing himself back onto the pitch would have led Martinelli to believe that he is faking it and that he is just trying to waste time. So gave him a little push off the pitch. It's not right. But when you look at it within context, you can see the reasoning behind it. And again, doesn't make it right, but you can understand the whole situation and the talk afterwards. Listen, it's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But I don't expect anything less from the likes of Gary Neville, to name a few. But Martinelli starts the game. And then up front as the main striker, it will be Gabriel Jesus. I wish he would have got out of Gabriel's way in the last few seconds against Liverpool, because Gabriel had waited for that moment, had made that space, and it was a header that he eats for breakfast. And that would have been the game there and then. But yeah, listen, at the end of the day, he starts the game, and I feel it'd be a great, game to get some minutes in his legs, and it's very simple. So listen, there we go. That is it for the lineup. There's quite a lot of changes there, but there's still a little bit of stability there. And when you're looking at the likes of Madueke and Eza, Gabriel Jesus and Martinelli, and listen, it's still a ridiculously strong lineup, isn't it? And more than enough to get the job done against Portsmouth. So yeah, there we go. That is it. That's the lineup. So let me know in the comment section whether you agree or disagree with it. If you do disagree, what changes would you make? Very simple. We'll see what happens. So yeah, you know what to do if you haven't already. Like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you lot very soon. I'm out of here.